what you provide us with, and we also pray, as those that are involved in farming and the ag business, that you keep them safe, get them through this time, and it's very busy, bring them home at night, and safe for them and their families. Also let's all keep our patience as we move into this time of year, and so it make it all better. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. Ms. Green, could I have a roll call?
Gibson,
Here.
Fox,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Swisher,
Here.
Grant,
Here.
Simmons, Green, Paprick.
Here.
Adoption of the agenda, has everybody had a chance to look over that? If so, I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second, Alan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approve or correct regular session minutes of September 2nd, 2025. Everybody has looked over that, I hope. If so, I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second, Gibson.
All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on down to committee reports. First one we have is Public Relations and Public Safety Committee. That is Councilman Swisher and Councilmember Gibson.
I have the Marshall Police Department report for the month of August. They had 227 traffic stops, 45 citations, 11 arrests, and 5 DWIs. The municipal court issued 16 warrants. Officer calls are 1,849 for the month of August. That averages to 59 calls a day. There were 133 police reports taken, average of 4 a day, with 37 arrests. Animal shelter numbers for August: 6 citations, 25 dogs picked up, 16 dogs returned to their owners. Then the nuisance report be 3 open nuisance cases, 1 signed out, 77 closed nuisance cases, 5 summons issued to people, 10 tickets issued, 4 nuisance the city has taken care of, 80 total complaints since May 21st, 2025. That'd be it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Swisher? No report. Thank you. Municipal Service and Personnel Committee, Councilmembers Brandt and Green.
I have no report tonight other than we are discussing having a municipal services meeting here coming up. Ron Grandy's got a few things just to talk about, so I'll get with Mr. Green and the rest of the city staff, and we'll get that done here pretty soon. That's all I have to report today.
Mr. Brandt. Property Finance, Budget and Audit Committee, Councilmembers Paprick and Fox.
As of August 31st, revenues are at $16,044,090. That's 119.76% of budget. Expenditures are $16,013,897, which is 112.63% of budget. This is the last month of the fiscal year. That's all.
Mr. Paprick, Mr. Fox.
Nothing to add.
Thank you. Community Development and Code Committee, Councilmembers Allen and Simmons.
No report.
Mr. Simmons is not here, thank you. Moving on, City Administrator's Report, Mr. Kerman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple brief items of interest. We would like to have the next town hall meeting associated with the tradesmen and permitting for both building and construction, as well as electric and plumbing and those sorts of permits. We'd like to have this follow-up town hall on Thursday, September the 30th at 6 p.m. at the Municipal Courts Building. That's where it was held last time. Thursday, September 30th at 6 p.m. in the Municipal Courts Building. Also want to mention that on the TAP grant for Miami and College Street, we did finally receive what's called an A date from MoDOT, which is going to allow us to start pursuing easements for that project. But I know what's on most drivers' minds is the issue with the lights. As you know, we've had repeated damage to a couple of those towers from trucks making turning movements in the intersection. we are pursuing a fix to that issue. However, with the grant itself, there's some question about whether or not it's going to be able to be incorporated into the grant. In any event, we are looking for a path to remedy that issue with no left turn signal and things like that at that intersection. So I'll have more for you when we get a little bit more information there. And finally, staff continues to work with MMU and Jeff and his team on the power generation project with MEC. We're now doing weekly meetings via Teams with our city engineer in order to keep everybody on the same page moving forward with that important project. So happy to answer any questions you've got about these or any other items. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerman. My report, I do not have a report tonight. Moving on, we're gonna move down to business from the audience. It's limited to 3 minutes. 3 minutes per speaker. Any person, resident or non-resident wishing to address the city council may approach the microphone and state their name and comment. If there's anybody at this time, I'd like to open it up for 3 minutes on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman, I am Michelle Pointer. I'm the Association Executive for the Central Missouri Board of Realtors, and I've been a realtor in Marshall for the past over 39 years. As realtors, we understand the simple truth that every thriving community depends on a triangular stability: housing, schools, businesses. Without a balance in all three areas, the city struggles to grow and prosper. I encourage everyone to watch the presentation on economic impact of new construction available on the city's YouTube channel from August 29th, 2023. It's still there, saw it today. This presentation clearly demonstrates how new housing directly contributes to the financial health, growth, and long-term stability of both the city and the county. We understand that the city is not in the real estate business, but affordable housing must be viewed as infrastructure, just like roads, schools, sewer systems, and businesses. A sufficient and diverse housing supply is critical for a healthy community. Without adequate housing, businesses can't recruit employees, schools lose families, and the tax base erodes. We have a developer who has already invested more than $50,000 in engineering and other requirements placed upon him by the city in order to develop a subdivision here. This is not someone inexperienced. He has successfully built subdivisions in other communities, and in those cases, his plans were thoroughly reviewed and approved by experts who are more than qualified to make those determinations. The question we ask ourselves is why, if qualified professionals in other towns find his work acceptable, are we here in Marshall continuing to put up roadblocks for a project that represents more than $40 million in direct investment into our community? At this time, residents are continually reminded to shop Marshall, support Marshall, and keep our dollars local. Yet we see decisions at the city level that appear to contradict this very message. Outsourcing trash collection, outsourcing inspection services, they represent lost opportunities for local jobs, lost investments in our workforce. If the city doesn't lead by example in supporting Marshall, how can we expect citizens to do so consistently? Adding to that frustration is the fact our city administrator does not live in our community. Yes, there may be an apartment here, but that is not the same as being vested in the future of Marshall and actively involved in the community. Leadership is most effective when it comes from people who have a stake in the community's success, who share in both the challenges and rewards of living here every single day. Marshall is at a crossroads. We have the potential for growth, investment, renewal, but only if you choose to embrace it. That means working with qualified developers instead of against them. Our profession is deeply tied to the success of our community. As realtors, we live here, we work here, and we give back to our community. We understand that building homes builds future, builds opportunity, and builds the foundation for a stronger, more vibrant Marshall. This is not just about houses. This is about creating a city where families want to move, businesses want to invest, and future generations want to stay, and we together have the responsibility to make that vision a reality. Housing attracts people. People attract business. Thank you for your time. Sorry I went over.
That's all right, thank you. Don't everybody jump up at once, who's next?
Hi, I don't really have anything to say. I just have a request. Can you speak up louder and into the microphone? We've tried to watch the video on YouTube and we're having a hard time hearing, specifically you, Mayor.
I will,
Okay, thank you.
I'll try to screen.
Okay, just from the diaphragm.
Hi, I'll introduce myself again. I'm Sandy Heisel, and my husband and I own Tower Realty and Tower Extended Stay in Marshall. After your last meeting, when you said you would like to hear about the subdivision, I assumed you would want to hear from the developer. I sent a request on September 3rd, 2025, requesting that Mr. Roden be put on the agenda. Apparently, 100 homes is not important enough to appear on the agenda. In 1973, the Davis brothers built the last big subdivision in Marshall. There were about 74 homes. It was built at the time Wilson's Foods came to town, now known as Cargill. You can say the 70s were the last time we had a real growth spurt. Now, we have built a few small subdivisions since then, but nothing over 30 houses except for Claiborne Fox. We have been treading water for the last 50 years. Mr. Roden did not come here unsolicited. We sought him out. He has worked with Jim Yankee, the owner of Flat Branch Home Loans, on other projects. Jim invited Mark to come with him to Marshall to meet myself and Tina Howard. Jim believed that Marshall needed housing and wanted to help. We have been working on bringing housing to Marshall for almost 7 years. Mark could easily stay here where he is and continue to build. There are many communities that would love to have a builder that has built 8 subdivisions, completed and come to the community to build, but has chosen to stay and work with us. We have made this about as difficult as possible for it to happen. Drawings submitted multiple times with many updates required from this first city engineer. I have convinced him to submit again, and he was told that they don't meet our Kansas City standards. Now, he has a licensed engineer who is doing his drawings, and she assures him that they exceed anything required by the state standards. Now, if he builds them exactly how she has designed them, and the city has problems down the road and goes back to the engineer that did the design, she carries E&O insurance just for that purpose. Now, we have told him in the last letter, we have told him in the last letter that if he doesn't agree to meet these standards by October 1st, 2025, the City Council will consider this matter closed. Tell me, I'm dreaming, that you are going to allow this person to leave Marshall without telling him what you don't like or what doesn't qualify under our codes. Again, I want to reiterate that the council has the final power to determine whether or not to meet these excessive codes or meet and exceed the MDNR requires. I look into other communities and to see how many require or have adopted the KC code that are close to our size. I checked with 8 communities, and only 2 use the Kansas City code, Moberly and Sedalia. We spoke to Sedalia's city engineer, and they are looking at getting away from it, and in the next year, they hope to have that done. That leaves 1 with using the Kansas City code. Sedalia's population is 22,310 and growing. Moberly is 13,337 people. Boonville, which is not quite as big as us but is growing, is 7,863. They use their own code and they're growing. Hannibal is 16,809 people growing DNR criteria only. They do not use KC code. Chillicothe, 9,103, 7-page manual. Grain Valley, 16,859, does not use the Kansas City code. Kirksville, 17,000 people, does not use Kansas City. Warrensburg, almost 20,000, does not use Kansas City code. I think I've reached my limit, so, yeah. I did want to share this with you. This is the code that you all have adopted. It's 136 pages is the code that is the Kansas City code. These are for 9 communities. These are their codes.
Anyone else like to speak at this time?
My name is Bill Anderson. Many of you know me. See a lot of familiar faces. I'm here because mainly Sandy had made a request to me, but she's not the only phone call I've been getting in the past few months. People trying to get things done in this community. I was a big part of this community for many, many years. But I'm getting phone calls still. How do you get through to City Hall? How do you get contact with anybody? How do you get a response? There's got to be a breakdown somewhere that responses aren't getting made. You got a developer knocking on your door. Nobody's answering. There's something that's not being followed up. So I beg of you to just, Craig, look into it, see what's going on, why we can't get phone calls returned, emails answered. There are too many opportunities there. I work 30 minutes away in Sedalia. I know how developers work. I work with the engineers. That's part of my job. I have now. I know what it takes to get clear communication between developers, engineers, and all that. And Sandy's folks that she's working with are not getting those answers. And there just needs to be this breakdown, something happen here. Yes, I was part of the team that put these APWA codes and the 5600 storm sewer codes in place. So I know they're stringent, but also knew how to work with the engineers and work with the developers to make those codes work, make all the DNR rules work out, and get something moving. And so I just implore you to find out what this breakdown is. I worked with a lot of city administrators in this town, and 3 to 4 different ones. All of them had a heart and soul in this community, and they all managed to find a way to work with a developer. That's what we need, is somebody that can work with the developer, meet all the codes that need to be met. Maybe we don't need a 156-page rule book for the codes. It may not be the right code for now, but let's figure out what this breakdown in communication is and figure out a way to fix it so that this town can keep growing. It needs to. For all of these citizens in this town, my family included, we just got to figure it out and find a way to work with these developers. So that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Most of you know, I'm Bill Riggins. I've lived here for probably 44 years, run a business here for several years. I've done a lot of volunteer work here in town, served on P&Z for many years. And Mr. Administrator, question I got, why do you feel we have to follow the KC code?
Mr. Riggins, this is your 3 minutes to address the council.
Oh, okay, so I can tell you. You have the power to change the codes. It's been done before. I served on P&Z, and we modified the codes to meet the situation. Also, whenever you look at this piece of property that we got, another thing on there that the letter he's got is on bonding. What the hell do you need bonding for if he owns the property? You're gonna donate the property to him later in development. What's the risk? Right now, you got roughly $40,000 an acre in that property. And if you don't do something with it, it's not gonna generate an income, because I guarantee you, it don't make any money off farming. And that's what it's done right now, right? I haven't been out to look at it, but the last I knew, there's farming it. You need to do something that's gonna get some revenue out of that property, not just waste it, since you've got that much invested in it. And all we're looking at is changing the code to state standards, and we've got an engineer that will certify that these plans are more, when they exceed the state code. You have the opportunity and the power to change that to make it happen. Because everybody says, okay, what if he goes broke? What the hell if he goes broke? It's to your advantage if he does. You ain't lost nothing. You got streets, you got utilities put in. If you get 3 or 4 houses out there, what the income you're gonna get off of those 3 or 4 houses is gonna make up more than what you gotta potentially lose at all. If you write the contract right when you donate the property, anything that's not developed automatically comes back to the city. So, I mean, the bonding doesn't make any sense at all. You're not protecting nobody. All I'm saying is step up, use your power and let Marshall have the opportunity to grow instead of going downhill. Thank you.
Anybody else at this time?
My name is Cliff Cato, and I guess I'm going to be the lone wolf in this room maybe today, I don't know. I've been thinking about our meeting that we had just 2 weeks ago, and things that were brought before the council. There's one point, I guess, that I really do agree with. We do need housing. But my problem is we need affordable housing. And my problem for me is that $300,000 to $500,000 are not affordable housing. I have been here for 23 years now. I grew up in the city of St. Louis. I've pastored a church here for 23 years. I will guarantee you everyone that I deal with could not afford even the lawn of those homes. We need housing. I deal with homeless people. I have one that is behind my building now. We try to work with them, and I know we need business. There's a lot of things that we need. And I heard a lady the other day saying that in order to bring doctors into town, she can only go into certain areas. Well, here's, I guess, something I have there. This is Marshall. So this is where we are. This is where we're at. And I think we all want to go forward. There's not a councilman that doesn't want to see Marshall succeed. But we want to do it the right way. And I don't see, in my understanding, the city owns the property and we're just handing over the property, correct? Somewhat. So all of that property will be lost, and the funds that could have been, or it could have been purchased, whoever wants to develop or to build, let them purchase at fair market value and then let them do with what they want, because then it would be their property. So those are just some concerns that I have. And I really hope that we look at this, and I know they spoke about doctors coming into town, and that's less than 1%. It's less than 0.5% of our population. And if we want our population to be with us, they don't want us to have stuff they can't afford. They want to have things that they can afford. They mentioned, if someone worked for the public school system and both of them worked there. Well, I went on the school's website and pulled up their pay scale. That can't happen. And I'm sure I missed some things, but even when I missed some things, if they're lucky, they may have $100 a week left in their pocket. No, I'm sorry, a month. A month. So, and that was including no children. That was just a couple. So, again, I know we need housing. I've spoke about needing housing. It is a desperate need. Business is a desperate need. I just don't consider this to be affordable, and I think if you asked the majority of the community, they would tell you that this is not affordable housing. And affordable housing, to me, is what the need is in our town. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name's Amelia Landman. I work at Tower Realty. I also own Show Me Pools. I would like to press on a couple points that he made. Affordable housing. So these houses may not be affordable for everybody, but they are affordable for a large population of Marshall. Yes, they are. I sell houses every day. I can tell you that $300,000, $400,000 houses sell all the time in Marshall, Missouri. They also are not readily available. So every time one comes on the market, they're sold within a day or two, unless there's something wrong with them most of the time. Second of all, I know plenty of teachers who can afford, with 2 incomes, a house payment of $1,800 a month. And then third of all, these more expensive houses free open more affordable houses for the people who cannot afford these $300,000 houses. The people who will come or who have lived in Marshall that want a $300,000 or $400,000 house do not have one readily available to them. So this will empty their $150,000 to $200,000 house and give them a $400,000 house and allow them to sell that house at a reasonable market rate to people who cannot afford these $300,000 or $400,000 houses. It's not just the new houses. We're freeing up other real estate for people who can't buy the $400,000 houses, but they can still buy the houses that the people who are moving into the $400,000 houses are selling. We need to think about that. It's not just the people coming to Marshall. There are a ton of people who want these houses. They want to move into them, and they will be selling more affordable houses for other people who cannot afford. I can tell you, my parents have built several houses in the last few years, and affordable to build nowadays is not possible. The cost of materials is outrageous nowadays, and to afford to build regular houses for people, you're looking at $300,000 houses just for the material and the labor to put into these houses. You can't ask somebody to build affordable housing. They are affordable for people, but just the right people. And then they will free up other houses for the people who can't afford these houses. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else like to speak at this time?
Todd Lewis with Truman Title. I lived here for a lot of years. Presently, I live in Sedalia, but I've had a business here for 30-plus years. I had to skip out to go to the restroom, and I remember when they put the tile in that restroom, so I've been around a while. What Amelia was saying, there's a lot of truth to that. There's houses in Sedalia that are 900 square foot homes with no garage, tiny village homes, and they are $160,000, $175,000. 900 square foot, 2-bedroom, it's like a studio apartment with a house. No garage. Homes that are on the market right now, that are not new homes, are listing for $200 a square foot. Well, a 2,000 square foot house at $200 a square foot is $400,000. In the infinite wisdom of the city, we decided that we wanted to take down the hospital and put up the lots, and that's great. But part of that is that it needed to have all brick. So we have a home there that's a little over 2,000 square foot for $425,000. That's a new home, a little over 2,000 square foot for $425,000. The unfortunate part is, and I feel your pain, I know we need affordable housing. You are absolutely correct. Affordable housing, if you're talking about $175,000, is that affordable? Right. If you're talking $175,000, you can't build a 1,000 square foot home for $175,000 now. That's the problem. So unfortunately, $300,000 is affordable housing for a new home that's a decent home. Amelia is right. From a title company standpoint, if I see a house that sells for $400,000 regularly, I see somebody moved out of one that was $300,000. And I see somebody who bought that one that moved out of $225,000. And I see somebody who bought that moved out of $150,000. And I see somebody who bought that moved out of $90,000. We are not going to have $150,000 homes being built in Marshall, Missouri. It is not feasible. The only way you can do that is you've got to free them up. If we do not have new housing, we will not have affordable housing. But that affordable housing is not going to come from the low end. It's got to come from up here and bring those people up so that some of those houses are available. I hope that we give this individual a chance, because I watched you all give 26 acres away that was right on the edge of town. And now the school's got it, and we got no tax dollars, and that's great, whatever. You get to choose that. And you put all those lots up, and you got one house that's $425,000 on it. We need some new housing. I hope that this guy gets a chance.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at
some familiar faces. I see you guys. First time up here on this podium. Walter Rodriguez, the IT instructor at the Saline County Career Center. It's pretty sad to see that we expect to pull up as if you were a mother kitten pulling up a kitten by the nape of the neck. Our kids in high school, let alone in college right now, that we need to ask the question, right, that was just asked, who are the right people? Because our kids coming out of the Career Center that I'm trying to train up to get into this workforce that we're trying to revitalize, trying to create some spark of fire to give them that passion to actually find the problem that they want to solve. And we want them to stay here, right? At least I would want my kids to stick around. Why would they stick around here when it doesn't feel like there's any worthwhile investment into the upcoming generation? Right? Who are we building these houses for? Our kids can't afford it. Hell, barely anybody here can afford it. So how about instead of worrying about bringing people in for Marshall, how about we nurture the young talent that we have now and give our kids a chance? Flourish like a seed growing from the ground up, right? Hopefully that helps y'all make some decisions. Thank you.
Hello, I am Clayton Heisel. I own a small business, H Squared Excavating. You all talk about affordable housing. That I live in a house and I make an $1,800 house payment. I don't make a whole lot of money. My wife's a teacher. People can afford a $300,000 home. There is no way to build affordable housing. You want to talk about affordable housing, and part of the reason why Marshall is stuck where they are is because we have all the government housing. We have apartments that are all Section 8 and federally funded and government-funded apartments. We don't have a workforce, and that's what we need. We need people that can buy houses and add to our workforce. We don't need people that are going to leech off of our tax dollars.
I'm Mike Harlow, and that is, I mean, it's amazing to see the passion in this room, all directed the wrong direction. Is $300,000, is that affordable? Wouldn't be for me, I guarantee you. Would it be for Mr. Washington over here? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. I can't see $300,000 being affordable, but I'm not going to say that it's not. But I am going to say that irregardless of whether it is or is not, why is the discussion all about the cost of the house? I mean, have we lost sight of the fact the city owns this property? If you want to develop the property, why can't you just buy it from the city and develop it? There's a lot of different ways. We've heard that, well, suppose you allow this gentleman to go ahead and put streets in and everything, and now you've got value in the ground that you've given away. And so if it goes belly up, so what? oh, we don't want him to go belly up. But what happens to the ground if he does? It's no longer belonging to the city. So then who's gonna own the property? Who's gonna buy the property? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, but I don't think that the right questions are being asked. And maybe I'm the one that's full of hot air. Maybe I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. It's quite possible. But I think with the amount of passion that we've got in this room on this issue, and we've got a whole community. We've got another, 12,800 people out there that we haven't heard from. So out of that 12,800, surely we can come up with 300 people that can afford a $300,000 house. That's neither here nor there. The thing is that I think that the wrong questions are being asked. I don't think there's anybody on the city council or in the city. I don't think the city administrator's trying to keep anybody from building houses out there. I don't think anybody on the council is. And I don't know why people in this room think that the council is against them on this. But I think we need to ask some questions that are relevant to this situation.
Thank you, Mr. Orlow.
My name's Danielle Reno. My husband owns a business here in Marshall. I can tell you the year that we bought our house was solely one income, and we pay $1,300 a month for it. These houses are affordable. If you have 2 jobs, 2 incomes in your house, this is affordable. This is ridiculous. The people that you're so concerned about as far as more affordable, they're not here speaking. So why are you guys so concerned about everybody else when they have the ability to come in here and speak too, don't they? This is my 3 minutes, I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt yours. I'm looking at you, I'm not pointing at you.
So just because they're here doesn't mean we don't hear from them. No. I just want to put that out there.
Right, but okay, that goes right back to, we reach out to JD. I've reached out to JD. I know numerous people that have reached out to JD, never heard a response. This contractor meeting, the first meeting he had, within, 2 to 4 weeks, he wanted to have a second one. And how many weeks has it been?
I will take the blame on that because I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. And under this new council, and me being mayor, I want to make sure that we address every issue that has been brought to me. Every person that has reached out to me, all that stuff, we need to make sure that we can address.
I understand that, but I just don't understand why we're not hearing back from him when we're reaching out to him. So with that being said, these houses are affordable, and I feel like we're also, the people who are against it, you're losing sight that my $140,000 house is going to come onto the market, so that people can buy it, and I can buy a $300,000 house. So that's been reiterated multiple times, and we're still hearing that it's strictly $300,000 houses that are gonna be for sale, which is not the case. So I think you guys are very confused, and there's plenty of information out there for everybody, not just what's heard at the 3 minutes for your city council meeting. So if you wanted more information, you would go find it.
Thank you.
I think something else that's important too is the term affordable is very subjective. So it doesn't just fit in one box. So I don't think there's been any action, somebody can correct me. I don't think there's been any action say that we don't want homes in Marshall. That's why we're at this point. But there's things that need to happen for that to happen. So I think it's a lack of some not knowing all the details, and it's kind of fueled by emotion and not facts, as evidenced by some comments tonight. So I just implore everybody to seek truthful information and not allow those that don't have the information to fuel things any further. Everybody up here wants Marshall to go forward, or we wouldn't be here, or you wouldn't be here. That's gonna look different for everybody though. So I'm happy to talk to anybody. I answer all emails. I return all calls. This small group here does not represent Marshall as a whole. So I think that's very important to keep in mind. So.
John, I want to piggyback on that. I'd be glad to talk to any individual at any time that wants to talk about this. I notice the developer is here. Would you care to speak on, I mean, maybe you can answer some of our questions while you're here.
Hi, for those that don't know, I think I'm part of the reason for some of this commotion tonight. My name is Mark Rowden. Since some of you haven't been here before when I've spoken, about a little over a year ago, I thought I was just coming to lunch at Marshall with Jim Yankee. It was a chance for me to get away from the developments that we were working on. I work in Pulaski County, about 2.5 hours south of here. And this is my 21st trip to Marshall since then. And I've spent, I don't know, $30,000 to $40,000 probably on this project. And talked to business leaders, school superintendent, hospital CEOs. Everybody talked about the need for housing. Well, that's what I do. We've built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes in Pulaski County over the last 32 years, 8 different developments, plus a lot of custom homes. And when talking with the community, I saw that there was a need here, and I simply thought, well, let me duplicate what we've done in Pulaski County here. Just the same way that we do it here. Now, there are more restrictive requirements here, and engineers sometimes call it scope creep, where the target has changed several times, and that's understandable. You guys haven't had a development since the 70s or the early 90s, I'm not really sure. But some of those restrictive requirements, by the way, to address, I didn't plan on talking about this, to address the affordable housing situation, we're starting a brand new subdivision in Waynesville, specifically for more affordable housing. The term affordable housing, you are right, is very subjective. The numbers, 200 to 250,000, to me is not affordable. But that's where we are in 2025 in America. But the requirements make it more difficult, make it more expensive, make it more time-consuming, make it less attractive to a developer that's coming to invest tens of millions of dollars to try to keep that prices down, make it worth the trip, make it a win-win-win situation, which I think is what we have an opportunity for here. By the way, I've received your letter. It's something that I will consider, talk with some of my people, and we'll get a response back to you. But here's something I wanted to share. Over the past couple of weeks, especially this past week, I've really thought through this again, trying to see it from a different perspective. I've tried to put myself in your seat there. And when I sit in your seat, I don't know why in the world you want this job. You guys are in a very difficult situation. Whatever decision you make, somebody is going to be pissed at you. I don't envy you at all. This is a hard situation. If you donate the land, somebody's going to be upset because you did that. If it's too expensive houses, somebody's going to be upset because of that. If it's too affordable, they're going to be upset. You're in a very difficult situation. But But I just want to share some of my experience. For years, I built in the county, at Pulaski County, and I'm sure the alarm's going to go off on me. I hope I get a little extension. Again, I don't know, we built about 500 houses in the county because the administration at that time in Waynesville, I called them the Good Old Boys Club. And I'm not saying that's what's happening here, it's just what was happening there. They were very, did not want development. They made it very hard. They had the attitude that if you want to develop in our town, we're doing you a favor in order to allow you to do this, and the requirements were difficult. A new administrator came in, his name's John Doyle, he's a civil engineer, and is a very progressive attitude, and in the past 2.5 years, we've built 230-ish homes in Waynesville. At the beginning, it was difficult because a lot of the older people were there, even in the utility department, and there was conflict, there was headbutting, there was, why are these regulations in place? They don't add value to the end product. What we've built in the county is exactly what we build in the city. The regulations aren't changing the end product, they're just making it more expensive, more difficult, more time-consuming. But they've discovered now, 2.5 years in fact, I talked to the administrator this morning, not only the utilities, not only the property tax, but he was talking about the use tax that it's increased $500,000 in the past 2.5 years simply because the people that are ordering on Amazon, Walmart delivery, they are getting a chunk of that tax and they're seeing the benefit, that it is truly a partnership, and they've gone from, we're doing you a favor, to let's work together on this. I know it's a hard thing to do, but like I said, we've built hundreds of houses there now. Rooftops in a community are foundational to growth, to businesses coming in. It's an investment, it's a risk on any developer's part to, the only person in this room that'll be investing millions of dollars if it ever happens is me. And it's something that I would hope a community would welcome, especially someone that's experienced. And I've invited all of you to come to Waynesville, because to me this was the bottom line. Come to Waynesville, see our developments, walk through the houses, talk to the owners, talk to the renters, talk to the city administrator, the inspection department, the mayor. Ask them, how is the experience here? Look at the subdivisions. Is there anything that is violating life safety issues, code issues, stormwater issues? It's simply not there. But the prosperity that has brought to the city is there. But doing it with a lot more restrictive requirements is prohibitive, at least to me, to come this direction. So the bottom line, again, that invitation stands. Come down and check them out. And just ask yourself the question, do we want this here? Will this benefit us like it does there? If the answer is no, no harm, no foul. I didn't come here looking for a job. I just wanted to leave town and have lunch. But it is something that I think this community needs. I've sort of kind of have a soft spot in my heart for this community because of all the times I've been here. But decide if you like this here. The restrictions and the codes they are the regulations. That's no doubt. I'm not trying to circumvent something. It speaks to the disposition of the city leadership. Are we pro-development? Do we think this will be benefit? Or do we want to keep a protective standpoint? And this is where you're in a difficult situation. Your job is to protect the city, but your job is also to promote growth in the city. So hopefully we can figure a way forward. If we don't, like I said, I wish you well. No problem. I've got plenty to do. One of my favorite expressions is, for something to change, something has to change. So if we like the status quo, stay there. If you want to change, let's figure a way forward. I'm a pastor. If I speak any longer, I'm obligated to take an offering. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Did you have any questions? I'm sorry.
No, I guess I'll just tell you, it's not a question, it's just a statement that I'm in favor of developing housing out there, and whether it's you or somebody else, I'd love it if you get to do it. But like you said, we do have to, do it in a way that protects the city. And I'd be glad to talk to you individually just about whatever, any concerns that I have, okay?
Moving on to discussion and appropriation. Follow-up, Diane, could you read the first one?
Well, we've got the bank bid first, if you want to,
Yeah.
we just need a motion and a second if they want to approve the bid.
Everybody had a chance to look at that. That is the banking and the depository services. That's a bid. Do you need to speak on that?
I mean, if there are any questions, I can try to answer them.
Anybody got any questions for Amy? All right.
I would move that we move on the recommendation of our finance director to accept the bid of the Exchange Bank.
Do I have a second?
Second, Allen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to ordinances. Ms. Green, could you read the first one, the title only?
An ordinance accepting the budget for 2025-2026 of the City of Marshall, Missouri, as submitted by the Council Committee on the Finances for said City of Marshall, Missouri, and establishing all salaries as set out in said budget.
And that is a second reading. Everybody understand that? That is a second reading. If so, could I ask for a motion and a second to approve?
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Green, could you give us a roll call, please?
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons, Green, Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Ms. Green, could you read the second ordinance, please?
An ordinance of the City of Marshall, Missouri, approving the annual operating budget for the city's Board of Public Works.
And this is the second reading on that. Jeff, do you want to add anything?
Just be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody got any questions for Jeff? Okay, if not, I need a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to approve. Submitted.
Second, Patrick.
Ms. Green, could I have a roll call, please?
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons, Green, Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Moving on to appropriation. Ms. Green, could you do the first reading by title only?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
I need a motion and a second to take it to the second reading.
I so moved.
Second, Gibson.
Ms. Green, could I have a roll call, please?
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons, Green, Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Ms. Green, could you read the second reading by title only?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
I need a motion and a second to approve.
Move to approve the second reading.
Second, Allen.
Roll call vote, please.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons, Green, Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher.
Yes.
Okay, is there any other council business that we need to discuss at this time? I would just like to say this, I haven't really had a report for a while, and I understand everybody's frustration as far as this development and all of that stuff. I encourage you to get a hold of all of us. We just hear, y'all in here, and all these guys up here have heard from everybody out in the community. Hopefully we can, I want to see it happen. I want to see the town grow, so don't think nobody up here does not want to see things change in Marshall. to make change, we gotta make sure that we're doing it the right way. And that's all I really have for that. Anybody else wanna add to that?
I agree.
So, I mean, I spent countless hours, I've heard from people, I understand everybody's frustration. I also know the issues that we have at Claiborne Fox, that the taxpayers are gonna have to start taking care of. So, we just gotta look at this, weigh our options out, and make sure that we do it the correct way. And move forward. Everybody up here wants to see this town grow, and believe me, I've been here, I'm not gonna tell you my age, but I've been here for a while. And I wanna see change. I wanna see, we need to get towards the future. But one thing I will say is that everybody in this community has a voice. And everybody, this is everybody's community and not just a few people's. And we all need to work together for one thing in the end, and that's growing this community as a whole. So, good. John Allen, I know you've been
Well,
waiting.
I just want to remind everybody of our special session on Tuesday the 30th at 11:45. And that's to finalize the wrap up this year's current budget. And so we can move into next year. September 30th and Tuesday at 11:45.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just follow up on that. Councilman Brandt is correct that the 30th is a Tuesday and not a Thursday, as I stated twice at the outset of my report. September 30th is a Tuesday. Thank you.
I think we've kind of got a feeling as who is able to attend and who is
Yes.
not at this point.
At this time, we have a quorum.
Yeah, they want to make sure we have a quorum because it's very important to get it done. Andy wants to get it done.
That's right, it's very important.
Anybody have anything else that we need to work on, address? Go ahead. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.